Today, we're going to dive into a truly incredible story. It's about a kind of divine intervention that happened in an age of deep disbelief, a spiritual drama that unfolded in 19th century India. This is the story of the coming of Shri Ramakrishna. So let's start with a big question, one that feels just as important today as it did almost 200 years ago. In a world that's just soaked in doubt and intellectual arguments, how does a deep, unshakable faith get reborn? That question right there is really at the heart of our story. And to even begin to find an answer, we first have to understand the problem. So our journey is going to take us back in time to 19th century Bengal, which was right in the middle of a massive spiritual crisis. You see, this was an era where two worlds were just crashing into each other. On one side, you had thousands of years of Hindu tradition, deep rituals, profound philosophy, and the worship of the divine in all its beautiful forms. And then on the other side, you had this new wave of Western rationalism sweeping in, promoting skepticism and basically calling ancient practices like image worship idolatry. The educated folks, well, they were caught right in the middle, questioning the very soul of their own culture. He wasn't born into some quiet, peaceful time of faith. No. He arrived right in the middle of this crucible of intellectual ferment and spiritual doubt. It really feels like his arrival was perfectly timed for a very specific purpose. And that's because Sri Ramakrishna's life wasn't just a biography. You could almost see it as a divine counter-narrative, a living, breathing answer to all the doubt and confusion of that time. Think about it. While the whole intellectual world was busy debating if God even existed, his life was basically a demonstration of a completely different idea, that actually realizing God is not only possible, but it's the highest goal of being human. He wasn't there to win an argument. He was there to show a living truth. Now, to really understand his life, we have to look at it through a very specific lens. The scriptures call it Leela, or divine play. From this point of view, his life wasn't a normal human story. It was a kind of cosmic sport, where the line between what's human and what's divine just got completely blurry. Leela is such a beautiful concept. It tells us that the divine isn't some distant, stern force, but is actually playful and creative. The whole universe and incredible lives like Sri Ramakrishna's are seen as part of this joyful cosmic game. Grasping this idea is absolutely essential to understanding his story. Okay, so now let's trace this divine story all the way back to its very humble roots. We're going to leave the noisy intellectual battles of Calcutta behind and take a trip to the quiet, simple village of Kamarpukur. And wow, the contrast is just stunning. Kamarpukur was a whole world away from the city's skepticism. This was a place where faith was as natural as taking a breath, where devotion was just part of the fabric of everyday life. This was the rich soil where this great spiritual tree was going to grow. And the seeds for that tree? Well, they were planted by his parents, Khudiram Chattopadhyay and Chandramani Devi. Their character, their integrity, it's the bedrock of this entire story. You have to hear this story about his father, Khudiram. It's just so powerful. So a powerful local landlord pressures him to bear false witness in court, basically to tell a lie. But Khudiram, being a man of unshakable dharma, flat out refused. And the price for that refusal was huge. He lost everything, his ancestral home, his financial stability. He became a pauper. But he kept his truth. He chose dharma over wealth and started his life over in Kamarpukur, laying down a foundation of absolute integrity for his son to build on. And then you have his mother, Chandramani Devi, who was the perfect counterpart to that fiery integrity. She was just the embodiment of pure, simple, heartfelt compassion, known for her kindness to everyone and her deep, deep love for their family deity. She filled their home with this incredible spiritual grace. So you have this amazing foundation, right? A father who would literally sacrifice everything for truth, and a mother who was just the living picture of simple devotion. It was from this incredibly pure beginning that a divine life began to unfold. And the real question that just hangs in the air is, how would that one life, born in a tiny, quiet village, go on to shake the very foundations of the modern world? Now that journey, and exactly how his life did change the world, is a story for another time. But for now, we really hope you found this little glimpse into his origins valuable. It's stories just like these that we are so passionate about sharing. Thank you so much for joining us. Here at Gyan Kosh, our entire mission is to make the timeless treasures of Sanatan Dharma easy for everyone to access. We share these stories in English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, and Bengali because we really believe this wisdom belongs to everyone. On our channel, you'll find daily explorations of the great texts and the inspiring lives of saints from all across India. We really try to cover the whole beautiful spectrum of this profound tradition. If this story resonated with you at all, please subscribe to Gyan Kosh so you can join us for our daily explorations of these timeless treasures.
We'd also love it if you'd like this and share it and help spread this divine knowledge with your family and your friends. Let's all work together to keep the light of Sanatan Dharma shining bright. Thank you for watching.